Welcome to This Explainer. Look, let's just face an uncomfortable but absolutely vital reality right up front. The world doesn't always play fair. You know, no matter how honest or straightforward you are inevitably going to run into some complex, manipulative situations. Now, our goal today definitely isn't to make you cynical, not at all. It's to teach you how to play chess while everyone else out there is still stuck playing checkers. We're going to be unpacking this fascinating concept called dark intelligence. Think of it as a framework of highly strategic, psychological traits that are going to help you navigate a really complicated world.
Machiavelli actually hit the nail on the head when he wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." The whole essence here is that true power and protection really come from managing perception. What people see on the surface absolutely doesn't have to be your entire playbook.
Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is dark intelligence? Well, it's definitely not a villainous trait. It's actually a deeply protective shield. It's this incredibly advanced strategic mindset that often gets forged when people face defeat or betrayal. While others might completely break down, someone with dark intelligence uses that pain to build strength. It's all about listening, observing, and waiting to strike at the perfect moment, rather than just instinctively reacting to all the noise around you.
Just picture the difference between how highly reactive people operate versus how true survivors and leaders operate. Emotional reactivity, that just gets you completely bogged down in loud arguments and anger. Strategic intelligence, on the other hand, means you're quietly gathering information, you're calculating, and you're planning your next move. And a quick but super important disclaimer here. This knowledge is strictly for your self-defense and protection. We're learning to understand the game so you don't get played by it, not so you can become the villain yourself.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We're going to group 8 essential psychological traits into 5 really clear tactical phases: strategic mystery, mastering your interactions, the power of detachment, focusing on pragmatic results, and finally, power with ethical responsibility. Let's dive right in.
Phase 1. Strategic mystery. Let's look at how calculated opacity and controlled exposure builds a really solid foundation of power.
So we live in this world that literally constantly praises oversharing, but sharing absolutely everything, that actually gives away your power. Complete transparency just makes you completely predictable and frankly, kind of forgettable. Calculated opacity doesn't mean you're lying. It just means you're being highly selective. You share exactly enough to create a curiosity gap. That mystery creates interest, the interest builds respect, and that respect ultimately leads to serious influence. To keep total control over your own narrative, you just need to follow 3 simple rules. First off, let other people's imaginations do the heavy lifting for you by not filling in every single blank in a conversation. Second, please don't show off every single skill you have on day 1 of a new job or a new relationship. You want to reveal your capabilities gradually so it always looks like you're growing. And third, treat your personal information online like it's extremely valuable currency. You definitely don't want to spend it all in one place.
Moving right along to Phase 2, mastering your interactions. This is where we learn how to dynamically adjust our persona.
Think about it like this. You don't talk to your grandmother the exact same way you'd talk to a prospective boss, right? Of course not. That is an adaptive persona in action. You have to learn to act like water. If your audience is super analytical, you give them the hard data. If they're emotional, you connect with their feelings. You adapt to whatever container you're poured into. But, and this is crucial, you keep your core values completely intact the whole time. It's about being genuinely yourself, but just tweaking your delivery so you're actually heard.
Here is a massive secret. Every single person you interact with is silently asking you 3 things, whether they realize it or not. They're wondering, do you see me? Do you understand me? And do you value me? If your actions can answer a resounding yes to those 3 questions, you unlock the ultimate cheat code for building incredible trust and influence. It literally makes people feel instantly safe with you.
So how exactly do we answer those silent questions? We use something called the psychological echo. Look, most of us just listen so we can reply. Someone complains about their bad day, and boom, we instantly jump in with our unsolicited advice. But if you listen deeper to their unspoken fears or desires, and then echo that back, wow, it is transformative. Just saying something like, man, it really sounds like you're ready for a challenge where you're truly valued, reflects their emotional experience perfectly. It creates this profound sense of being understood.
All right, Phase 3, the power of detachment. Let's talk about finding absolute freedom through silent leverage.
You know, amateur hour totally relies on loud power. People think power means raising your voice and demanding instant respect in a crowded room. But real power whispers. Silent leverage means you are so incredibly comfortable with silence that you just let the other person rush to fill it, which almost always results in them revealing their own hand. It's all about earning loyalty over time and making your mere presence the heaviest influence in the room.
And this brings us to the fascinating paradox of detachment. It absolutely doesn't mean you're cold. Actually, scratch that. It doesn't mean you don't care at all either. It just means you aren't desperate. True, unshakable confidence comes from knowing you're going to be entirely fine even if you have to walk away from that big negotiation, that argument, or even that relationship. And the crazy thing, when people sense that you cannot be controlled by the fear of losing them, their respect for you just absolutely skyrockets.
Which brings us nicely to phase 4, focusing on pragmatic results. It is time to ditch that ego-driven need to be right and actually get things done.
Have you guys ever heard of strategic laziness? It's basically the famous 80-20 rule in action. Outcome-obsessed people never, ever confuse mere activity with actual achievement. They refuse to just look busy to keep other people happy. Instead, they focus their energy strictly on the 20% of work that generates 80% of the real results. So no, it's not laziness at all. It is ruthless, brilliant efficiency.
And this right here is exactly why arguing is usually a massive waste of your time. Amateurs want to win debates just to soothe their fragile egos. Professionals, they want to achieve an outcome. If your ultimate goal is to actually change someone's behavior, proving them brutally wrong to their face usually just makes them double down and get incredibly stubborn. You've got to stay obsessively attached to your long-term goals, but remain incredibly flexible about the methods you use to get there. Now, this ties into a concept called ambiguous morality. Sounds super intense, right? But really, it just means making pragmatic decisions. The real world is gray. It's not black and white. Sometimes true kindness requires telling a really uncomfortable truth, or maybe letting a toxic team member go to protect the rest of the group. It's about focusing on the absolute best long-term outcome for everyone, rather than just taking the easy road so you can look like the nice guy in the moment.
And finally, we arrive at phase 5, power with ethical responsibility. Because all these traits need a strong moral compass. I really want to reiterate our initial disclaimer right here. This entire strategic framework, everything from calculated opacity all the way to outcome obsession, is designed to give you power over yourself, not malicious power over others. You're learning dark intelligence so you can see right through the games people play. It's so you ensure you're never just a pawn on someone else's board.
Because it all comes down to this. Anyone can be dangerous, but to be truly valuable, you take this deep understanding of human psychology and you use it to create win-win situations. You use it to guide people toward way better decisions, to de-escalate messy conflicts, and to solve complex problems efficiently, rather than just acting recklessly.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to really think about it. Consider the traits we've covered today, from strategic mystery to emotional detachment. Which of these are you going to put into practice this week to empower yourself in a really complex world? Are you going to choose to be emotionally reactive or strategically intelligent? The board is completely set, and the next move is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time.